Hello and welcome to Dagon. This is a free game on Steam that's, Dagon is a very Eldritch and Lovecraftian thing. And I thought I would give it a try, Can't go wrong with Lovecraft, really. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work, focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here, and movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot. Okay.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
Yeah, that does seem to be strainful. During the game you encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey, others reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find the secrets, focus your eyes and look for the Elder Sign. You can also access all found facts later. They will be available in the main menu. Well, that's the Elder Sign? I thought it was something different. Okay.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Okay, sounds like fun. The camera needs to move a little bit faster in my opinion. Okay, this is a little bit better. Alright, let's take a look. Oh, Elder Sign! Oh!
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate.
Okay.
When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Okay. Morphine. Morphine entered into the use in the 19th century and was routinely administered to treat severe pain during the American Civil War and World War I. It's also sold without restrictions until 1914. Morphine became more popular after the invention of the hypodermic syringe, who first isolated the substance, originally named it morphium after Morpheus, the Greek god associated with dreams. At a time when Dagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, already posed a big problem in the United States. Oh, interesting.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Oh. You were a supercargo. Alright. What makes a person a supercargo, I wonder? Okay, I can look at that. What else can I look at? Oh. Dagon was written around a month after the United States entered World War I. Lovecraft was actively interested in its course. He composed many poems in which he gave encouragement to soldiers and commented on the events unfolding in Europe. He tried to enlist in the army, which he mentions in one of the letters to Reinhard Kleiner. Some time ago, impressed by my entire uselessness in the world, I resolved to attempt to limit this my most invalid condition. I argue that if I chose a regiment soon to depart for France, my sheer nervous force, which is not inconsiderable, might sustain me till a bullet or piece of shrapnel could more conclusively and effectively dispose of me. But even though he passed the physical exam, his mother prevented him from going to war. She has threatened to go to any lengths, legal or otherwise, if I do not reveal all the ills which unfit me for the army. I am Providence, the life and times. Yeah. He was, his actual life, historically speaking, was not that great. He was very ill. He was a very ill child. And he also wasn't really all that smart. So a lot of the new inventions that were going on at the time, like, for example, air conditioning was a new thing. He actually wrote a short story in which, someone was, a frozen corpse being kept alive because he was in air conditioning, because he didn't understand air conditioning, so he was scared of it. And that's how a lot of his stories came about. Like, he didn't understand something, so he made up horror stories about it, really. And a lot of his stories also deal with the outsider, the other thing. And that kind of sort of correlates to how racist he was. But if you want to, obviously, you don't, that's bad. That's a bad thing. You don't like that. And I don't like it either. But people have taken his ideas and created much more out of them than they originally ever were. And that's the part that I like, the mythos around it. Not generally what Lovecraft created, but the people who have stepped in behind him to create wonderful things. Well, horrific things, Scary, spooky, eldritch things. That's what I like.
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation. So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
The Huns were Central Asian nomads who established a dominion in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. They were known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. During World War I, the British used the word Hun as a synonym for Germans in order to emphasize their brutality. However, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II gave a speech to his troops before they embarked to China. Should you encounter the enemy, he will be defeated, no quarter will be given, prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls into your hands is forfeited. Just as 1,000 years ago the Huns under their king Attila made a name for themselves, one that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German. The refusal to take prisoners was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the First Hague Convention of 1899. Okay. There's nothing out over the water, at least not right now.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
If you're being treated well as a prisoner, I wouldn't try to escape, because, especially not out into the water like this, because you don't really know where you're gonna go with that. Like, you could very easily just die because of a rogue rave. There's just a rave out in the middle of the water. I guess there's no elder sign. I don't see any.
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
Yeah, good job. You're gonna die out here.
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
Good job.
Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
This is why this was a bad idea, and you should have just, like... Oh, wait, look at the sun. Or moon. Whatever that is. Who knows? Anything up at the sky? Yeah. Okay, I guess we just keep going then.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
I mean, you did really stupid by being here. I'm just saying that. You did a lot of stupid. Oh. Turn to short stories. Dagon was written in July 1917 and first published in 1919 in The Vagrant, an amateur magazine focused on the supernatural. The story is the first of the stories that introduced the element from the Cthulhu mythos, Dagon itself. A pagan cult worshipping Dagon later appears in The Shadow over Innsmouth, one of Lovecraft's most popular works. 1917 is also the year when he wrote The Tomb, a story about Jervis Dudley, a daydreamer who discovers a mysterious mausoleum in the woods by his house and becomes obsessed with it. These two works marked Lovecraft's return to short story writing after he burned most of his attempts at the genre 9 years prior and decided to concentrate on poetry. Lovecraft stated that it was his friend William Paul Cook, a literary publisher and critic, who convinced him to start writing weird fiction again. Okay.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue.
I can't look anywhere else besides the sky.
The change happened whilst I slept. Its details I shall never know, for my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
Lots of tentacles. Just trying to look for the elder sign, but I can't seem to see it anywhere, so...
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see.
Lovely.
And in which my boat lay grounded some distance away.
Cool.
Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
I would try to pet the squiddies. Although that might be a really bad idea, because some of them might sting me.
For there was in the air, and in the rotting soil, a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core. The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish, and of other, less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
I was going to say, is that a nautilus? But I don't really think it is. That's just an upside-down squiddy there. I'm not seeing anything on the boat, technically.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity. There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine.
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Oh, I'm allowed to look around now. Okay, that goes forward. DVD. Any of you ever see an elder sign? No? Okay, I guess we go. Squish, squish, squish.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position. Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths. So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
I don't know about volcanic stuff, but probably an earthquake, maybe?
Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
Oh yeah, there's no seagulls. That is a problem. Let's see. I don't know what the... Oh. Got it. The mystery of volcanic islands. Volcanic eruptions sometimes result in the creation of islands. Some of them are transient and erode after some time, but some prove permanent. The floating pumice porous rock created when superheated pressured rock is ejected from a volcano can move across long distances and transport barnacles and macroalgae that cling to it. In 2001, rafts of pumice created during the eruption of a volcano near Tonga eventually reached Australia. Ah, cool. Yeah, you know, most of the smaller islands were created by volcanoes at some point. And as the Earth's crust moves ever so slightly, you can actually see the trail of the volcano as it moves. Because it'll erupt and create a little island, and then Earth's crust will move, and then it'll erupt, and then make another island. Yeah. Anyway, let's eat the fish.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
That thing.
As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time.
Eat the fish.
That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Oh, that's what we would look at. Let me take a look around, see what else I can see. Yeah, I don't know if I would really... I guess the boat is the only sort of, like, place we could find something close to comfort here. Oh, that's cool, the way that when it moves in such a way, and the shadows. That's cool. Alright, let's go.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
Okay. I don't think the fish is good now.
The odor of the fish was maddening,
Yeah.
but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
Let's look for an elder sign. Focus. No elder sign. I don't see any. Okay. Squish, squish, squish.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
Ooh. Ooh. Still no elder sign. That's the sun. Okay, I guess we just keep going. These things are looking decidedly not normal. Yeah. Oh, that's a whale. Hi. I don't know what these things are. They kind of remind me a little bit of sea spiders. These are like deep sea living crab-like creatures.
That night I encamped, and on the
saw them
following
in
day
Soma,
still
actually.
travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
Oh, is he trying to go for that lump of flesh that was moving? I don't know. But that I don't know what this thing is. Looks like a big old sea worm. There's a smaller one. They kind of look like leeches a little bit. And I know there are parasitic fish that sort of like cookie cutter fish. That's what they're called. Latch onto other things and drink their blood.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance.
Ugh.
An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface.
That's shiny there.
Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill. I know not why my dreams were so wild that night.
'Cause you're weird.
But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration determined to sleep no more.
Oh, so this isn't a dream. I thought we were going to see dreams.
Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon, I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
Oh, well, yeah.
Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
Okay.